Hi, everyone. I'm Rejoice on Umatta Consultant Podcast. Today, we have the special privilege of speaking with Jingjin. She's the founder and CEO of ZaZaZu, founder of the Elevate Group. I would love for her to introduce herself as she sees fit, and we'll dive right into the questions. So, Jingjin, the mic is yours, please.
All right. Thanks so much, Rejoice, for having me. My name is Jingjin, as you rightfully said, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and running my third company with my partner in crime, Uma, and we're building the Elevate Group, and which is a company that help the world to rebalance the power towards a female perspective. Our mission is to empower, to impact 5 million women, Asian women working outside of Asia, Asian women in which kind of constellation you want to have, and to make an impact until 2030 on their professional life.
Amazing, amazing. I love your mission, and I feel like it's such a strong one, and it will have a huge impact on the people you're working with and for. First question for you. Can you please share your journey from corporate leadership to entrepreneurship? It's exciting. What inspired you to start ZaZaZu and the Elevate?
So I would say entrepreneurship came to me. I'm originally from China, and then I went to Germany when I was 16. Study industrial engineering, had followed a very male-dominated career path, and I'm generalizing now, but I feel that generally men are I was very often the only woman, so I in the environment has shaped my view to take more risk because my environment men are just they have just less worry. They just do it. So when I was still in corporate, so when I was maybe just 5 years down the leadership role, and I had the opportunity to embark a opportunity that the company as a big company could not take, and we started with two other guys. We started a company called Aspo Drives that help Chinese farmer in the rural area to gain made in Germany quality gearboxes to help them to grow, to increase vehicle efficiency in the agriculture area. So back then, I have no kids, no husband, no obligations, no aging parents. So you are kind of free. So you said, you what the hell? What do you have to lose? So and then, yeah, you kind of just did it, and that side hobby has become then a proper venture after 5 years, and that in the seventh year, it has become so big that I can't just do it on the side anymore. It kind of forced me out of the corporate leadership and continue to building this to bring back then in Germany this part of the world, which I am now in Singapore in Southeast Asia. Yeah, and then that company we exited right before COVID in the end of 2019. That gave me the runway and confidence and a lot of tools that I need to build second company ZaZaZu and the Elevate Group. So entrepreneurship some kind of came to me, I would say.
Amazing, amazing. I love your story. And I like that you moved to a new country, Germany, at the age of
Mm.
16, which is such a huge accomplishment to be there by yourself and just figure out the culture, work with. And then you also mentioned working in a male-dominated work environment also shaped your thought process. What challenges, going along with what you have already said, what challenges did you face when shifting from a structural corporate environment to launching your own company?
That you can be the CEO of whatever. When you don't have a corporate title, you are often a nobody to the majority. So I would rather my first role. I remember my first my third business card is team leader for strategic marketing for ZF. So that was one of the biggest automotive supplier firm. And but you are a team leader. I mean, we run a $200 million portfolio, but I mean, it's required in the corporate setting. You have the R&D and marketing. You have so many departments. It's never your own achievement in a way. So you are a team leader, okay? But everyone then, I was at this fair, but I was also the managing director of our company, Aspo. We were making, I would say, roughly 5 million euro revenue at that time, small company, nothing comparable, but I'm the owner of the company. Then we went to that fair, and then there was a conversation I had with a client, and then she said, "Oh, which company you will work for?" And then I gave them the card of my the managing director. So they said, "Oh, ask for okay, like okay, this is a DIY company." And they said, "I thought you work for ZF." I was like, "Yeah, I also have the ZF card." They said, "You are." So suddenly you become, it's like
Mhm.
only with your corporate title you work more
Right.
interesting for people because they
Right.
can put you in the right place.
Right. That is so true. That is very true. It's like when you see someone in entrepreneurship, your mindset of them, you're not sort of sure where they are in their
Correct.
journey. So it makes a lot of sense. What would you say is your biggest lesson you have learned as an entrepreneur, advocating for women empowerment specifically?
Oh, so many of them. I think if specifically for advocating women's empowerment, I think the number one things I learned is that the social conditioning on women across all culture, across the globe, from the US to Africa to Asia to Europe, regardless where you are, is so strong. It's so difficult to unlearn something if you grow up in this environment. It's the having more ambitions to do you have to choose to do you expect to be liked? You have to choose to be either liked or respected. You have to choose to be the good girl or the victim or the villain. So for women, there is never the okay, you can't have it all. I mean, just in the professional setting now, you are either then you have the queen bee syndrome. There are so many of names, and we ourselves are our biggest enemy. But not initially. I used to think, oh, because women don't help women. Once I got there, then I push the others down. It's social conditioning because it's tug of war. It's women are genuinely the table or the place are not built for women. So once someone has made it, they have done this in such a difficult and tough way. They have to follow. Why should I enable someone else? And even there are so many things. There are so many things I used to think when I started act in the female empowerment space. Is that some women don't support women. There's a lot of things are very on the surface, but ultimately it's all social conditioning. How we grow up with, although we used to build tribe hundreds of years ago, that women we fed each other's baby, we help each other with the elderly, and today we are all kind of isolated. And it's the social condition that make women that make any kind of progress tough today.
So true. So true. Your work re-evolves around breaking social taboos related to women's confidence and empowerment. What are some of the biggest taboos that are still being addressed today?
I think it's likability. It's either you do you want to be liked or do you want to be respected. I think if you just think about, even regardless whether you're entrepreneur or in the corporate leadership or just normal employee, is the ideal woman we think, if what are some of the words we associate with a woman? The nice girl, the kind girl, you always be so helpful and so caring, so loving. And then, but if you look at the leadership side of the things, it's never those traits. So now and then as long as the workplace is built for men by men, it still follows certain rules that does not support all this kind of caring characteristic. So in a way, in a very un-PC way, you have to be the corporate bitch in order to make it. Then and I don't even think that's a bad thing. It's like when men say, when there are so many things say, oh, women are so emotional. Men are emotional all the time. They're angry. They bang the table. They scream. They shout. But it's only emotional when the women do that. So so there are so many taboos in the in I think it all goes around the likability, because the expectation of women is to be all the words, all the caring words. But in order to success, you actually need to put out your elbow. You have to pick a fight, and it's just against social norm. So then that bitch wanted to be respected, not just to be liked. You just can't have it both. Whereas
Right.
men, usually when you respect them, you like them as well.
Right. That
Yeah.
is true. That is so true. I love how you broke it down, these concepts, because you see it all the time at work.
Yes.
You can tell how you're treated and versus things that you try to tackle, and I guess the biases, the unconscious ones that you experience. How can women navigate cultural and social expectations while embracing their own confidence and being authentic at the same time?
I would say you can't at this climate. I think everybody's saying you can balance all, you can be the social conform girl and then, and then be still authentic. I think there's a lot of BS. I think, you want to be authentic. Just the reason that I moved to Germany is because I was a very social unconform girl. I'm for a Chinese person, very dark skinned. I'm very extroverted. I'm always questioning authority because I want to understand why. Why do we have to learn this? I remember my math teacher saying like, okay, what is 24 plus 39? Why can't you do it? And then I was like, but the calculator can do it. Why do I have to do it? I explain it to me. It just,
Yeah.
it's just not welcomed in this culture. So now you say, okay, if I want to be social conformed, I would say yes, teacher, because let's say Asian culture, this is expected that not only women, but you conform. But then you cannot stand out. Then you are just one of the billions. So what is the my authentic self is I would like to question it. It's not that I challenge the authority, but there will always be a gap in order to make friction, to make progress. So I think you don't have to betray your culture to be yourself. That's, I think, the number one thing you have to say. But you have to stop betraying yourself to belong. I think we
Mm.
betray ourselves. We are often not loyal to ourselves in order to fit in. So, we have to reframe how do we define success and what are the things that you have to reject and reinterpret. Can you ask, okay, can I be a devoted mother, but without disappearing, without giving up my own identity? Or can I respect, elderlies and still advocate for myself? Can I send my mom, if they need care, to nursing home without sacrificing my whole life to devote to her life? There are a lot of things I think we need to question and reframe and say what are the things that make us loyal to ourselves. And I think that's the number one step. Because at the end
Amazing.
of the day, you will be too much to someone, too little for others. So you have to be enough for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. Choose yourself and figure out the
The
percentages
rest,
of where
exactly.
everybody. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. How can organizations create environments that truly support women's confidence and leadership growth?
I think that this is a very, very tough one. This is obviously not fixed. I mean, we have so many DEI initiatives, then Trump just overruled all of them. I mean, you already see, which companies sway with the wind, which company
Hmm.
really embrace it. At the end of the day, there's two big contradictions. If you look at the top line, bottom line, shareholder value, everything what drives economy, that's hustling. Whether it's corporate or entrepreneurship, it's always getting more. And then, but if you look at the women are often mothers and they are caregivers, and they carry, regardless whether you are whether you have a professional job or you are a caregiver, a stay-at-home person. But there is no woman that does not work. Every woman work. Some are just not paid for their work. So if you want, so every woman carries certain invisible barrier. If you don't allow that to get a economic value to contribute to GDP, this part will always be ignored. But we
Mm.
still carry them, meaning that me as a mother, I have two kids, caring for them take a big chunk of my time. If this is not paid, not valued, and if the corporate, the company that I work for does not give me the flexibility to say, okay, Jingjin, you can work whenever, whatever, as long as you deliver. If you have this amount of trust, rather than, okay, it's the FaceTime, you have to be in the office at a certain time, you have to take a meeting at 6 p.m., you have to take meeting. There are certain rules that are very outdated used to be made for men by men. Women will never thrive. So ultimately, we have to see, okay, what as long as women carry invisible work, unpaid work, how can organization fit their KPI in? Because one thing I can tell you after working with thousands of women, the women, especially mothers, when they become mothers, they are the most loyal person you can imagine. You give
Mm-hmm.
them, you give them, you give them an inch, they give you a mile because they're just
Yes.
so appreciative because usually they are undervalued. They have to justify why becoming a mother, why becoming a caregiver, and then if you actually choose to give them the environment that they can thrive, they will be loyal to you for the longest time you can imagine.
Very true. Very true. Great points. Especially when, when they have other people that they need to sacrifice for. Those all
Correct.
sort of connect to their loyalty. Have you had a defining moment where you felt your work was truly making an impact? When was that? And can you tell
Uh,
us what happened?
every day, frankly, every day. I mean, we met on LinkedIn. I have become more and more active in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is I would say, for me personally, the best social media platform to advocate your professional voice, but also advocate for social cause, but combined with the economic value behind. So I have a very controversial thought, especially in terms of in terms of why sexual well-being matters for women. Why do you
Yes.
have to speak up in the bedroom before you speak out in the boardroom? I recently last year I did a TED talk called TED Talk in Frankfurt called Confidence in the Bedroom Leads to Confidence in the Boardroom.
Wow.
All these things is circles around some of the controversial thoughts. One of them is, I think the majority of women will meet their glass ceiling at home before
Mm,
they meet their glass ceiling at work.
wow.
So it's very often who you marry become your barrier. And
Mm,
it's not even that person's fault necessarily because you don't set necessarily boundaries and you don't negotiate at the beginning who take care of the kids, who does this, who does that, and is he just a help or does he lead, so on and so forth. Um, I get women write to me every day based on what I write, how they have changed, how that impacted them. I literally just yesterday, because no, last week, I wrote about the glass ceiling thing, and then this lady wrote to me, said, Jingjin, today is the day you made my day because this was the last push I needed to divorce my glass ceiling.
wow.
Yeah, and I get a lot of messages, so I can't answer them all, but this is the one that I actually kept in touch. And then has been 15 years in this marriage, and there are so many subtle microaggression. She's
Mm,
going on to a leadership retreat. She's invited, and she's so excited. And then the husband said, yeah, congrats, but just don't wear bikinis because nobody wants to see you in that. Things like this. You think sometimes I read this kind of things, I think I just made this up. No,
wow.
someone just made it up, but these are all real stories. This is just, or someone said, I'm invited to speak at this leadership summit, and the husband said, don't get your expectation too high. No one's going to listen to that. Just things like this, and I was like, what the? Huh? I mean, but these are all real stories, and then these are
Right.
not even. These are all the micro moment, and then it's death by 1,000 paper cuts every day, a little bit, little bit, little bit. So I have defining moment every day, but I think for this one, it's like this is the last push for divorce my glass ceiling. I would say was the most rewarding one.
Amazing, truly amazing. And like you said, LinkedIn is such a powerful tool to reach so many people, your stories. And I remember watching some of the things you wrote and how many people
Mm,
are responding to your message. So people are truly happy to hear your thoughts, and your way
yeah.
of thoughts, putting things together and explaining really helps. What strategies have you used to grow ZaZaZu to amplify its message?
So frankly, it's purely sharing things on LinkedIn. It's ZaZaZu. So ZaZaZu is a different company than the Elevate Group. ZaZaZu was the first sexual well-being hub in Asia that help women to understand their sexual health and sexual pleasure. And because reproductive health, when we talk about sexual well-being, people, especially this part of the world, is referred to reproductive health, having babies. Everything's related to that. And then women, especially women, don't actually understand what a sexual health, well-being, let alone sexual pleasure means to them. And I think you have to own your narrative. If you don't even know what pleases you, what you like or dislike, how can you communicate that to your partner? And the same logic applies in the corporate world or in any professional setting. So when I started the company, like everybody else, it's a B2C model. So we started to use Instagram, Facebook, and they banned us immediately. Everything that's linked to female sexual well-being, reproductive health, it's because it's very strongly associated with porn. So the bots, the algorithm will just kick you out immediately. LinkedIn was the only platform actually allowed us to talk loudly and proudly about building a business around a taboo topic.
Wow.
And advocate some of the things. So the 5 years journey has been, the reach we could possibly gain was solely through LinkedIn.
Interesting. I didn't know that sometimes topics like this could be banded on other social media platforms.
Not only topic like this. I mean, sex, as you can say, okay, it's kind of any female reproductive health, breast pump, menstrual health, anything related to female body, where the tech geeks don't understand. Yeah, because imagine this is why gender lens or building inclusive working environment is so important, because majority of the guys who are building algorithm tech are men. So, and they also don't have education in terms of sexual being, the female body. So everything associated to that part is just dirty and it's just porn. That's the only reference we have.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So, I guess, how do you see the integration of technology and women's empowerment evolving in the upcoming years? As you know, AI is being talked about everywhere, digital age. How do you see that in your thought process?
I think tech, the best thing for tech is democratize access. I think a lot of women, I mean, we are very fortunate we live in the metropolitans, and but majority, just in Indonesia, 70% of women, they are not in the major area or India or China. But in the moment where they have access to tech, to their phone, the access to education and access to the outside world, what is possible for them, has become I think that's a huge tool will transform how we educate and how university will have to change in the future to democratize access. I think that's number one. But I think the biggest challenge is it's largely biased, because AI, everything is if you ask AI there was this powerful video from a financial institution. They said, picture me investors. They were all white men, and picture lawyers, all men. Pictures, picture tech entrepreneurs. So a lot of information are, because shit in, shit out, right?
Yes.
A lot of information you fed in is biased, and then it will give you a biased result. And as AI gain more intelligence, the biggest challenge is then it will start reflecting the bias. So we need more women building, not just using, and the tools for the future.
Amazing. I completely agree with you that, this is why DEI is so important. You need the voices. You need the voices at the table
Yes.
to sort of share input, or we're going to get these type of biased answers. And if you don't have a human rechecking the work, it would definitely not be a good thing at all. So I guess my next question for you would be, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs looking to build a purpose driven business?
Don't do it unless it is a mission calling. It will consume you day and night. You will have if you are a driven founder, the likelihood, especially when you are young, to have a burnout is very high. You have no idea what kind of roller coaster journey you are up into. I am a very seasoned founder. I'm surprised by facts, by my own false assumptions, by the gap between my expectation and the real outcome every single day. I've been entrepreneur for 20 years now. In the meanwhile, don't do it unless there is this huge force to tell you you are the one and you must do it. Otherwise, when the days, when the years, the months become tough, when you face financial crisis, when you face family challenges, the likelihood for give up is very high.
Very true. Very true. Very true. But I guess my follow-up question for you, how would you know if you are really called to do what you're supposed to do as an entrepreneur?
I think the older you are, I think is number one question I ask, okay, why? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Just without overthinking what are the things, and you will see majority think they have freedom.
Right.
Which is completely BS. You are a slave for everybody. You are a slave to your, you are the CEO as in chief everything officer.
Yes.
Because you can, even if you run a bigger size, even when we reach 10 million euro back then as a company, you think we have 2 layers, no? But nobody will care as much as you because it's literally your business. So you have to understand the little things in order. You have to understand how to make a Canva a page, how to make a website, how to understand the P&Ls. You have to understand so many little things, and are you willing to go down this path to figure out everything and then to see this is going to be a 10 years journey, and to give yourself the timeline saying, okay, majority, it's not you are going to be the slave actually for this thing. So you cannot not do it. I think it comes with age as well. The older I become, the more I know what does entrepreneurship give me. But when I was much younger, I was also chasing the wrong thing. The first thing when we started building the first company, I was 26, and I want to have side cash, with very simple, but then it which also caused the company never to scale as if someone were to say, okay, my true calling is to help the farmer to get access. That was actually a side effect for me, So I think then the company will be built very differently. The KPI will be set differently, and you will have a very different timeline for your scaling and the success.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you could give one piece of advice to women struggling with confidence, what would that be?
It's a learned skill. Nobody is born confident or unconfident. Everyone, some people are more introverted, more extroverted, some are more vocal, some are less, but confidence is literally a muscle. You go to the gym every day, you train, you take a dumbbell and train your triceps for 365 days. You will get muscle. It's same as with confidence. And often, I think the mistake women often make, they think confidence is like, for entrepreneurs, when I speak at a big stage, or when I get to pitch to Shark Tank, too far away. The first confidence building is here. So I say it's like you go to McDonald's and then you order a meal. And then they give you the fries, the small fries. Like, oh, this is a little bit little. You think you can give me a bit more? Just ask for the sake of asking, and then see, and then also they say no, great. Then negotiate. Ask every day. Push yourself to ask something that you hesitate to ask, and then this is like every day a little bit. Every day. What is called dripping water wears through stone. No. Yeah, dripping. Yeah, it's a Chinese proverb. I think dripping drops wears through stone. So if you every day little bit impact ultimately build your reservoir of confidence of anything. Compound
That is
interest,
true.
compound confidence. So push yourself every day to do a little bit something that is uncomfortable for you,
Hmm.
and this is how you build confidence.
I love that answer. Very true. Very true. And I love the proverb too. I think it makes so much sense. Everything compounds as you do it more
Yes.
and more and more. I guess we're happy to hear from you. What is next in regards to ZaZaZu and Elevate? What is next that people should
Uh,
expect?
yes. So what is next? So we are expanding to Europe as well. And then we are currently only operating in Asia. And I think for the big mission is for us to impact, to have the 5 million women with our
Yes.
by 2030. And then we know it's, we also recognize not only a Asian women thing, it's actually a global women thing. Some have more, some of the things, the conversation is different, but the context is almost always the same. So it's to to impact women's life, and then to, because the big the change in corporate or in the world, if you wait that to change, you can wait forever. So we somehow, while we say we don't want to fix women, there is nothing to fix, but we kind of have to learn to speak men, to kind of to learn with the current environment, what are your options? How do you set boundaries to unlearn some of the stigmas and social conditioning that we have brought up with? So the change always start with yourself. And I think and then slowly, slowly you build a tribe, you build a circle, you build you build environment that support you and that support each other. And then the ripple effect is again compound interest. The ripple effect to the next 5 million women. The first 5 million will impact the next 5 million women. So this is how actually you build a movement, a profitable movement.
Exactly, exactly. Amazing. We're excited to see your journey and follow up on your goals. My last question for you, how would listeners or people who are hearing you speak today connect with you if they want to be part of your mission or they want to hear more about what you do?
So connect with me on LinkedIn. That's the best way. And we have a bi-weekly newsletter. Subscribe to that. I'll give you the link. And then in the newsletter, we share actually all the practical tools for women how to progress in the workplace. At the same time, we announce also program, events, online educations, anything that we do, to rebalance the power towards a female perspective.
Awesome, awesome. Jinju, thank you so much for speaking with us today. You're sharing your words of wisdom, giving us your journey through corporate and entrepreneurship. Thank you for everything you have shared. If you have any last minute words to give us, this would be the time.
I think I've said it all. I would say I think it's probably is whoever is listening use very often, especially I don't know your audience. I'm not speaking, let's say, to a more towards female perspective, women entrepreneurs, and you think you're alone. Everything what you have faced has been there for multiple of times, and whatever trouble challenge you are facing, it's you are definitely not alone. And the best way to get out of your head, which is so essential for entrepreneurs, is actually to get the words out. Start sharing with fellow entrepreneurs. Start sharing on social media. Start to build. Start to build your own brand, so people can associate with you, can connect with you, can help you, and vice versa. And getting out of your head, I would say, is the number one skill that any entrepreneur, especially women, need to possess.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you so much. And to all our listeners, if you haven't subscribed to our channels on social media, do so, follow us, and we'll be happy to share the newsletter with you if you would like to follow along what ZaZu and Elevate is doing in the near future. Thank you so much, Jingjin.
Thank you.